stare down and a few words exchanged.
I haven't seen.
You gonna see Saturday,
bro?
Saturday
even
night.
the little clips on the what is called that we just had, the gloves off. What the was you throwing?
Hey, you know what?
Gervonta Davis's corner. So you have Coach Calvin, and Coach Calvin is the head trainer, and you have Coach Kenny, who really specializes on preparing game plans specifically for opponents.
Gervonta Davis shocked the boxing world when he slapped Lamont Roach during a fiery face-off, instantly igniting tensions. The heated exchange escalated fast, with Davis declaring he would break Roach in their upcoming bout. The moment was electric-raw, personal. It's an unmistakably intense setting the tone for what's shaping up to be one of the most emotionally charged and aggressive fights of the year. This time around, Davis is different. He's entered a new zone, mentally sharper, physically refined, and more locked in than ever. Under the disciplined eye of longtime coach Calvin Ford, Davis is training with a quiet intensity that speaks volumes. Gone are the distractions and loose ends from the previous camp. Unlike their first encounter where whispers of leak strategy raised eyebrows, this preparation is airtight. The Washington, D.C. influences that once surrounded Davis are noticeably absent, placed by a tight-knit inner circle focused solely on execution. Ford and Davis are doubling down on focus, secrecy, and precision. Every session is calculated, every move deliberate. Davis isn't just looking for a win, he's after redemption. With emotions high and all eyes on the rematch, Davis is preparing for a battle far more significant than their first clash one, fueled by unfinished business and unshakable determination.
He's 100% correct. Personally, I had Gervonta Davis up a round, because whenever you have rounds where nobody's doing anything, I'm not just going to do what most people do, and especially people that don't like Gervonta Davis, which is just give the round to the other guy because Gervonta Davis didn't manage to knock him out that round. Okay, so this is Gary Russell Jr. clearly saying, man, no, I don't think Lamont Roach won that fight. You also had Al Bernstein, and Al Bernstein, I'm telling you, is a very, very straight, fair guy who I don't know if he was on that call, but he used to work with Showtime. I don't know if he was on there. I don't recall if I heard him. I think it was Rolly Ronaldo that was calling it. But Al Bernstein, who was a very, very objective person, said, hey, look, no, sorry to break it to you, but Gervonta Davis won that fight. Yeah, Lamont Roach put up a really good fight, but Lamont Roach was not dynamic. He did not do anything to really separate himself from Gervonta Davis. He just kept it equal. He just tried to keep it even the entire fight. And that's not enough, again, to take the belt from the champion. Now, I do want to say that the people that thought that Lamont Roach won, I don't have any problem with that. I really don't have a problem with it at all. I personally, again, had a point for Gervonta Davis, but I could see how those swing rounds really could go, depending on who's looking at it, really could go different ways, right?
Davis and Lamont Roach's rematch has been a huge commercial success. As seen by the 150,000 pay-per-view units sold well in advance of fight night. This degree of expectation highlights the importance of their competition and the public's need for a conclusion. Fans are anxious to watch if Davis can regain control, or if Roach will ascend once more as soon as the stats support the predictions of pundits, since they recall how tight and unpredictable the first battle was. This rematch is a major event, not just a follow-up. These numbers also show that both fighters are now important characters in the sport's continuing story. Not merely boxers.
Tank out here selling under 150,000 pay-per-views, you kidding me? Oh man, Face of Boxing, yeah, turn that shit off. Yeah, we shutting that shit down every single time. Does Shakur really want to fight Tank? I think Shakur could sell a bit more with somebody else, especially in Saudi. I feel like they can find him a dancing partner that'll do a little bit better than 150,000. Okay, I get it. This is why PBC delayed this fight for 5 months? Y'all ain't want to pay this motherfucker because y'all know he can't sell. I mean, this should have been evident. If you do the math, Tank has never been that great of a pay-per-view draw. He sold over 300K twice now in his career. He sold over 300K with Ryan Garcia. That's obvious. Ryan's the bigger star. And then he sold over 300 with Martin. He sold about 325. But when we put it in perspective, that Frank Martin fight was a comeback fight after a year layoff, so it was always going to sell. Every comeback fight's going to sell. It was one of the first pay-per-views on Amazon's new PBC deal, so they were really trying to push it. And then he had David Benavidez as the co-main event with Gary Russell and Alberto Puello under them. You take away all those factors, that this wasn't a comeback fight. David Benavidez isn't the co-main event, and Amazon has now been in the game for over a year. It makes sense it only sold 150. I know there's going to be a couple of you guys in the comments. No, it sold 500K. Don't be so gullible. They didn't sell 500K. I don't know if Tank's a top... Well, I know for a fact he's not a top 5 draw in the sport of boxing anymore. Well. He's not selling pay-per-views. Bivol Better BF just triple him. Well, Jerry, their pay-per-views are cheaper. Don't matter. All that matters is who has more eyes watching them, and Bivol and Better BF do. Tank doesn't.
Instead of abandoning their initial strategies, instead of a complete rebuild, Davis's team has decided to take a more sensible route change. Examining the first fight's video showed that the timing was poor, and the fighter's confidence declined in the middle of the round. Gosh, with such information. The team has now retold particular components, such as attack angles and spacing, with an emphasis on filling up the gaps. That made it possible for Roach to succeed. The goal is to improve the current fighter, not to develop a new one. Where prudence slipped in, they found it and replaced it with planned aggression. Davis is now more dangerous because his delivery is sharper and more decisive, yet his base remains intact.
He got a good chin. Oh, he got a good chin. If you got a good chin, okay, let's go ahead. Let's touch this. The chin ain't the only thing that can get you out of there. There's other things you can do and then go back to the chin. I won't go into details, but I look at shit different from a lot of people, man. You know what I'm saying? You got a fighter that listen, he's gonna be a hell of a fighter if he listens to what I tell him. You know, all fighters don't listen because some missions you put them on, you gotta walk through hell to get it done, and every fighter is not willing to walk through hell. You know what I mean? But the chin is not the only thing to get a fight out of it, and the body's not the only thing to get a fight out of there. It's other shit too, you know. Yeah. You gotta hurt. I believe in hurting them. You can hurt. You gotta hurt them to get it started. You know.
PD, thank you for the $2. People were surprised by Roach and Tank. What do you think the biggest surprise was in the fight?
It wasn't a surprise because we know Roach. It wasn't a surprise. Roach can fight. A lot of people think because a person is not popular, they don't exist. It's fighters out there that can rumble. They just got to get the opportunity, you know?
Possible that what many saw as a knockdown in their first fight didn't accurately represent Davis's fragility. According to reports, Davis's vision was impacted during the battle by an external irritant that may have been induced by a grooming product, which is what caused the slip. This drastically alters the context if it is true, turns what seems to be a weakness in stamina or technique into a regrettable and preventable diversion for fans. This strengthens their faith in Davis's ability and fortitude. His team's preparation is also given more importance, ensuring that nothing as trivial as product residue might jeopardize performance in a high-pressure situation.
Everybody really think Tank go take the L. I've been seeing it. They said it's over. They think that this time Lamont go in more confident, knowing that basically he can, really take it to Tank. Yeah, I want him to go in there confident. He's very skilled. Go in there confident because you gonna go up against a different Tank. Like I told y'all in previous videos, he go in there confident, thinking he could walk Tank down. Don't forget, with Tank, if he get you on that button, them lights going off. I don't care who you is. Remember how it ended up with Frank Martin? So yeah, don't go in there thinking that you going against like somebody that, like Ryan Garcia, somebody that's gonna fold. You're going against Gervonta Tank Davis. And I think that confidence is what's gonna get Lamont dropped. Because one thing I will say, with Tank, that wasn't your best fight against Lamont, bro. I feel like you was in your head too much. You was overconfident, and you was really just, your mind was in y'all story, the lore and everything with y'all history. You ain't going there like, I'm fighting a stranger. You going there like, oh, this Lamont. This from the same camp. We from the same area. But now I think that whole situation woke him up, because you got to think, Tank not used to losing. He not used to people being against him. He not used to being the one that...
Garcia, former world champion, offered insightful commentary on Davis's prospects in the rematch while lauding his innate talent and versatility. Technical skill by itself won't ensure victory, Garcia warned. He believes that the true test will be mental discipline. Distractions outside the ring, like his pressure and scrutiny of private affairs, must be avoided. Garcia thinks Davis has what it takes to win, but only if his body and mind work together.
I'll let you go because I know you got a lot of shit to do. Lamont Roach versus Gervonta, the rematch. It looks like it's going to happen, hopefully.
I think Tank wins in the rematch.
Why?
I think he'll make the right adjustments, and he won't take too long to fight. He kind of gave a lot of the round away sometimes. I think he'll be more active, and then he'll win. But big props to Roach for his last fight and performance. Fuck, surprised everybody.
Right.
I think he was robbed from the victory. Again, that knockdown should have been a knockdown.
Right.
But whatever, he gets a rematch, you know. And maybe they get a third fight, you know, after that. Who knows?
Yeah. Maybe it turns the market back out.
Maybe it turns out to be another great fucking matchup, and they say, you know what, let's run it back.
Right.
And maybe that controversy from the first fight actually helps Roach fucking get 3 fights out of it instead of just the one, or you know, you never know. So hey, things happen for a reason, and I think he did really well in his first one.
In summary, the rematch will assess psychological fortitude. In addition to technique, it's a full-on task that will require constant concentration.
I just want to know, when is the rematch going to happen at this point? Because I'm not going to lie, for it to be a whole month later and y'all still arguing over who actually won, it's just really like, okay, yeah, run it back, because we got to go ahead and settle this, squabble this up. I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to say neither fighter in here is shitty, okay? Because after the fight I seen on March 1st, yeah, they both was tagging shit, both getting up with each other, okay? I feel like this is the perfect match. If anybody's gonna do a rematch, you need to be there on, period. And Gervonta was stinging him. I'm not gonna lie, he was stinging him. Great fight for him. But I'm not gonna lie, he came out knowing what he was trying to do. Y'all have to give it to him. Like, y'all just be hating, okay? Y'all can't get in the ring and fucking fight. Y'all just be hating. At least I'm giving them no day props, okay? Because Gervonta had a great fight. Don't get me wrong. My money was on him. But I think what messed him up was the fact that when he came out, y'all know he'd usually be 2 steps ahead. He was 3 steps ahead. I feel like he already had Tank figured out. And he definitely was not expecting that. And him, on the other hand, I think he came in really having something to prove. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Like, it was a really good fight, and I feel like this is how I see it. In the beginning of the fight, he was stinking, back to back, you know what I'm saying? And then at the end of the fight, that's when he finally kicked it up. But I seen consistency through him through the whole fight. Not gonna lie, like, so I just feel like the rematch should happen, because never know, he might, now that he was 3 steps ahead, become 8 steps ahead, and he might really knock his butt down. But at the end of the day, it's like, we need this rematch, because I don't think this is ever gonna be a dispute that is settled and, you know, officially he won, he lost until they fight. Like, we gotta see it.
He's gonna try to get to us, but we're gonna frustrate him. He doesn't get frustrated. He takes his time. He's deliberate. You know, a lot of times at the beginning, people thought he was just a seek and destroy missile. They thought he was just a guy that got to you. And they thought that he would get over anxious. He don't get over anxious. He takes his time. He slowly closes those gaps. You know, inch by inch, step by step, and then he gets to you.